Oh, my leg wobbly. I move these tomatoes. Whew, okay. That was a struggle.
Let's get back into the swing.
That was a serious struggle trying to figure that out. You alright, Jax? You don't know they're bouncing.
Just trying to find Homestead Heart.
I gotta go check my canner too in just a second. Hey everybody! Oh, people are coming in.
Oh, they coming in to see us.
People are coming in to see us.
Come on in, come on in.
They coming to see about it.
So giant, crispy fingers, soft and milky
Turn it
cheese.
I'm trying.
down.
Let me see. I'm trying to turn it down so I can see.
This is-
There we go. And we are live.
We're live, y'all. We're live.
We're gonna give a few people a chance to come in. I gotta go check my can. I'll be right back, y'all.
Yes, y'all come on in, come on in. Y'all see the topic? Y'all see the topic, come on in. Come on in, y'all. Come on in.
Come on in the room.
Lavinia Wagner, she says good evening.
Hi everybody, come on in the room.
Come on in, y'all. Come
I
on in.
know. Hi everybody.
How y'all doing?
We've been trying to go live for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out. I kept like, why is it not acting right? I was trying so hard. Wait a minute.
Come on in. Come on in, y'all. We are live. Homestead Heart is live. Alphelia Moon Goings. She says hi, everyone. Y'all come on in. Johnny B. Sylvia Lives.
We haven't gone live in so long.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since we went live.
It's been a minute since we got on this live, right?
It really has been a while since we've done a live. We decided
Yeah.
to go live for tonight's table chat. So
Yes.
you all, not to, because we're already 15 minutes late because we were supposed to start this at 7 o'clock on the dot.
Yeah.
And we did not start 7 o'clock on the dot because Mrs. H was sitting here piddle-paddling trying to figure out why the screen wasn't turning and why the video wasn't going live. This is our second attempt, right?
Yes.
Like, we're not live even though it's saying we're live. That's because I didn't make it live. It's been a long time since we have done this.
Yes, it has.
It is hot in here, y'all, because I have the canners going. I am canning Mr. H's pickles, of course. What else am I canning? Besides, I'm in there canning his pickles, y'all. And I think I am on batch number 3, right?
Yeah.
So far. So, and initially we said we were gonna replant cucumbers. I ain't planting no more cucumbers. That's it. I'm tired of looking at green cucumbers.
The harvest is so plentiful.
It is.
We look at the small little 4-5 plants, and each plant just keep producing
I
cucumbers.
know.
Y'all saw how big the cucumbers were.
Yeah, they are nice sized cucumbers.
And I'm telling you, food really goes a long way. It may not look like it on. You can have about 6 or 7 plants,
Yep,
tomatoes, but man, they keep producing.
they do. Hi Sylvia. Hi Seed Soil and Sunshine. Courtney, Shadana.
There you go.
All of the alphabets. Hope, not one weapon. Sapphire, Jamie, Scotty, Margot, Kay, Serta, I hope I said that right. Daryl, Jenny, TLA, the Ademius from Canada. I hope I didn't chop that up too bad.
Shout out to Canada.
Vanessa, Second Floor Gardens. That's interesting. Comic Homestead. Raven,
Second
Eva
Floor
Marie. Aww.
Second floor garden. I like
J.R.
that.
Scott. Hey, bro. Good to see you. Rosemary. Eddie or Edie Love. Lavinia, Lisa. Marlena. Becky Lee. Rachel Tate. Urban Country Farm. Carla Gorman. Follower of the Messiah.
Okay. Then.
Dragon Queen. Debbie Thompson. Tamara. Willow Tree. Deborah Hooper. And Sandy, Dimensional Horse. Y'all, it's so many of y'all in here. Thank y'all so much for coming in. Danica Dar, Cassandra, Viola, Lisa, Amelia Tribe of Issachar. Hope I said that right. Blooming Garden Journal.
Oh.
Luann, Dion, Sam and Annie. Katrina's Garden. Rosie Slade, Proud American Mom, Deborah Culler.
Wow.
Y'all, thank y'all so much for coming into our chat. What did I just say? Allie Taylor, Hetty Brown, Carolyn, Pamela Pennick, Marie Phillips, Farmer Marshall's in the house. Make It Count, Dimensional Horse, Juju Hawkins, Pamela, E. McGee. Is that Thames 308? Grammy's Journal. I think I said Brenda Hunt. Virginia Rosada. Jan. MJ. Growing with Hudson in the house. Honeybee's Homestead. God's Desire for Me. Cassandra Henderson. MHW. Precious SoCal Gardeners in the house. I really adore you.
Honeybee Homestead, Louisiana.
Huh? Where about? Oh, yeah, we said Honeybee Homestead in Louisiana. Sure did. V. Hugh, I hope I said that right, from Illinois. Shirley Wine, Teresa Edmond, Brandon Vaughn, Sandra Carter, Jacqueline, T. Ponder, Hummingbird 77, God is Watching, Joy, Sharon C. Welcome everybody to tonight's table chat. Now, you all, we're going to go ahead and dive right into tonight's topic.
Yes.
And you all saw the name of the video.
Yes.
Forced, U.S. citizens being forced to homestead, right?
Yeah.
Forced to homestead. Now, what do we mean by that?
Well, I think that for one, grocery prices is like so high. I think that we getting so used to paying $200-$300 for 4-5 bags of groceries.
Yeah.
To where, we getting kind of used to it, but when we look at our bank account, it's hitting us hard. Mm-hmm. So we got to do something about it. We got to make sure we cut that cost.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of people are thinking about garden. That's why you see so many different, I guess you could say different situations where you got people just coming up with homesteads.
Yeah.
Growing their own groceries.
Forced to do so.
Yeah.
If you've looked at, if you've been paying attention to the news, have you counted the amount of recalls in the last 2 weeks that we've had? And we have another item back on the recall list again that was a big issue for a long time, and that's eggs.
Again?
So now eggs are back on the recall list again.
Wow.
So it's like the citizens of this country, really, we are being forced to do this for ourselves.
Yeah.
And with the climate of everything that's happening around the world, right?
Yeah.
With everything that's going on around the world and
Yeah.
so much uncertainty, because we can clearly see that this country is about to be dragged into something, right?
Yeah.
So with all of that happening, we're being forced now to start thinking about, if we haven't already, doing something for ourselves. A lot of the names that are in this chat, a lot of them had homestead in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that's because you really are.
Yeah.
homesteading. You really are on that road, or you've already started that journey to where you're homesteading, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be something big and massive, but it has to be something that you are doing just for you, okay?
Yeah.
So we're being forced to.
We're being forced to, and then,
Yeah.
you know, as you really pay attention to different movies coming out, there's a movie called Homestead.
It is.
You know, in that movie, you know, it's showing what could happen, you know. That's why, you know, it's very important to look at a movie that, you know, that's dealing with real life issues.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
so you won't get behind the eight ball.
that's
So
true.
so you can already you won't miss a beat. In this society, you don't want to miss a beat.
Right.
You know, you don't want to have a patch or 6 months or a year to where, you know, food prices could go up double next year. What would we do if food prices go up
Right.
even more?
Right.
We already got bills that we already paying. So United States citizens are really being forced to make that decision,
That's absolutely right. That
You
is
know?
absolutely right.
you know?
That
So
is absolutely right.
so-
Forced to make those decisions.
forced to make it. So it's best to go ahead and not really be forced and just do it on your own terms.
Yeah.
You know, just go ahead and just take one step at a time.
And see, the time is really what is what's calling for this, right?
Yes.
The time that we're living in is really what's calling for this, to the point where it's becoming more and more urgent. Because now I notice on YouTube even how YouTube is becoming saturated with homestead and gardening channels like I have never seen before. There
Yeah.
used to be a time where you can type in homesteading channels and you wouldn't hardly get any to
You
come
wouldn't.
up, you know.
Yeah.
There would just be a few here and there.
Yeah.
But now there are hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of them, and everybody sharing their experience, whether it's an experienced gardener or somebody that's novice. It really doesn't matter. It's everybody is sharing.
Yes.
And that's helping, because you have so many people who are new to gardening, new to a homesteading lifestyle, which is much more than just being in the garden, right?
Yeah.
The homesteading lifestyle entails so much more, which also includes raising your own meat if you're not vegetarian or vegan, and processing your own meat, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Raising your own herbs and whatnot that are for medicinal purposes. Literally, you're learning how to live and function off of the land or the space that you have,
Yes.
right? So it's a lot to it when it comes to homesteading, which is why we say the American, the citizens of this country, we're really being forced.
Yes.
And to tell you the truth, and I'm just going to say it like it is, we have become so lazy as American citizens because we're used to everything just kind of being
Convenient.
for us.
Yeah.
Right? Our great grandparents and grandparents, they didn't have it like we got it
No.
today. You
No.
know, they didn't have it like we have it today. When I was growing up, I literally had to watch my great grandfather and what he would do on his farm. And if it was something he didn't have, he traded or bartered with the farm. We say the neighboring farm, but you know a neighboring farm could easily be 5 miles up the road, right? So that was kind of what they did. They bartered
Yeah.
and they traded.
Yeah.
He had his own cows, so they processed their own cows for meat. He had his own hogs. They processed their own hogs. They processed their own chickens. They processed everything, you know.
Yeah.
And I always talk about how I used to watch him trade. I could be getting it backwards, but it was wheat and corn. I don't know if he was sending the wheat or receiving the wheat, but I just remember being in this wagon, being pulled down this long dirt road with all this stuff in this big old cart like thing, right? And I just remember that as a child.
Yeah.
But that's how bartering was being done back then. But now, if you tell a person that they got to go and put their hands in some dirt to
Yeah.
grow anything, especially if we're used to mostly modern conveniences. A lot of people kind of turn their nose to that,
Yeah.
especially if they're not used to it. Because you do have some people that are well-to-do,
Yeah.
right? You do have some people that's sitting on a pretty nice stack of funds right now. So they are not accustomed to doing something like this, except that it be something that they just do as a pastime, but not that they're really trying to grow food to sustain life,
Yeah.
right?
But see, that's a bad place to be, because when you're
Yeah.
real comfortable like that, where you just know you got a lot of money, you can just go and buy.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when you can't buy?
Yeah.
What happens when a situation like that happens, and you got to get out there and you actually got to do this, and your life is dependent on it.
So true.
So you don't want it to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can use that to your advantage if you got money where you can go ahead and buy.
Right.
But you buy to build your farm.
That's so true.
You know, you buy to get organized and see
Mm-hmm.
how many people that can be on the same team as you know, mentally, you know, like getting out there and learning how to store seeds,
Mm-hmm.
build soil, you know,
Yep.
build your soil up, you know, irrigation,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the basics and stuff, and, you know, seed starting, all that stuff, you know, and weeding, all that, you know, you can just start learning right now.
Right.
Because you don't want to get to where, if things get really, really bad,
Mm-hmm.
to where you got to do this in one season.
Woo. Y'all.
And you ain't never did it before, you ain't never studied anything.
Mm-mm.
Not saying you can't do it, but you wasted all your money on convenience. You wasted all your money going to Walmart, you know, and buying stuff that you can cook, which is good. But even worse than just going to Walmart, you've been spending all your money in fast food restaurants, feeding your children fast food.
Oh, Birkin bags.
In Birkin bags, yeah. Yeah, she said it. She said it. Ain't no way you can have somebody that's spending that kind of money on bags,
I told Mr. H one day, I said,
going
"Ooh."
to the field to farm.
I told Mr. H, I say, I found a Birkin bag on sale. It's on sale. He say, how much it costs? I say, it's not that expensive. He say, well, how much is it on sale? It's only $13,685.
No, they can't.
We laughed so hard at that, and I told him, I say, do you know what I can do with $13,000 on this homestead at this farm? I cannot see spending that kind of money on a single purse,
Well,
right?
I think some of them go up to like 300,000. That's a whole
A
house.
Birkin bag?
Yeah, a lot of them bags, whatever name brand bags.
For a purse?
Yeah, that's a whole house.
I didn't know that, y'all.
You know, so
I didn't know that.
so people that's real comfortable. Oh man, you know, I just can't imagine them getting out there just trying to do
Well,
what we do.
Actually, I'm going to read this comment because I thought this was a beautiful comment by We Reach Homestead. And We Reach Homestead said, there is such a learning curve in growing crops and animals and processing that you never want to be in an emergency situation, right? That's not the time to
No.
want to learn or start doing any of what we're talking about,
Yeah.
you know, because I could tell you now, the stress of it alone will just be too overwhelming.
Yeah.
So that's not the proper time to want to do anything. There is a learning curve. You're not going to be perfect the very first time you
No, you're
start.
not.
You know, it's gonna, the first time, if you are a meat eater, the first time you process a chicken, you're gonna be really sad. I know I
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
I was very, very sad that I couldn't even look at it. I had to let Mr. H do that. And actually, to this very day,
Yeah.
do I do that?
No.
I do not do the dispatch part. I do the cleaning part, and I pretty much have either my back is turned or my head is down, but I never see that part because it does hurt me to take a life, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's not easy for him either, but he can do it, right?
Yeah.
And so even in that, there's, now if I had to do it, I would do it. right?
Yeah.
If I got to do what I got to do, I'm going to do what I got to do, right? But there's always some learning curves that are present when you're just getting started. And because the citizens of this country, because we are being forced back to that lifestyle,
Yes.
this is the time. And I don't know if you've noticed, but there are a lot of celebrities even who have now started building farms and putting
Yes.
greenhouses on their
Yes.
estates and digging ponds and putting ponds on their estates. And we're not going to blow up anybody's spot or call nobody's name out, but you got a lot of celebrities that are doing that right now, setting up
Yeah.
rain catchments for their property, installing massive gardens, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Now, I could say this about this particular celebrity because she has a show on TV where she talks about it, and that's Martha Stewart, right? Have you seen her gardens? Her gardens are huge.
Yeah.
Her chicken coops are huge and beautiful, right? So, but she's been doing that for a long time. But at this time, there are a lot of celebrities doing it because of uncertain times and uncertain days
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, because you really can't depend on other institutions to look out for you, or to keep feeding you, and we got to be more independent because we see we see the horizon, we see things that's coming, so we got to be more like proactive on what we put in our mouth, how we feed each other,
Right.
What we feeding our children, our families, so we can be healthy and strong and live a long and productive life.
That's true.
It's more than just like, okay, we're going to get out here and just grow for this particular reason because we hungry. We want to live long.
Yeah,
We want to make sure we're not eating poison.
that's true.
Because a lot of these stores, they sell food to keep their food looking good and plump. They juice them up with chemicals.
They do.
Now
the Kingdom Garden says ground turkey and ground beef prices are rising, and so is the price of fish, and
Yeah.
fish like salmon and whatnot. Those prices are so expensive, and it's getting to a point where many of us will be priced out
Yeah.
of being able to purchase those things if we do not start learning how to raise them for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
I remember when chicken legs used to be the cheapest thing that you can purchase from the
Man.
supermarket. And now they're just as expensive as everything else, right?
Yeah.
And think about this. Do you remember when oxtails were very inexpensive?
Very inexpensive.
And now you may as well buy a cow
Yeah.
for the price of these oxtails, and all it is the tail, meat, and bone of a bull, of a cow.
Yeah, and don't go to a restaurant and say I want an oxtail.
That's expensive.
Yeah. That's almost like caviar prices
Indeed.
for the regular people.
Indeed.
So we're being forced at this moment to homestead because we want to keep living this life that we live in, eating the way how we've been eating.
Right.
Without going to the grocery store and it's costing you almost like a car note.
Right.
If you got a big family, because if you got a big family, you got a lot of boys in that family, your grocery bill gonna be high. So it's best to put those boys to work.
That's true.
Put them out there in that field. You still can feed them, but put them out there, let them work,
Yeah.
let them learn the craft, and then the whole family can be a part of a whole system, and it will become like second nature.
That's true.
It won't be hard.
That's true.
We can get out there. We can play sports. That's physical. We can do a lot of different things, hobbies and stuff. That's physical. Why not make garden a hobby?
Yep.
Fishing.
Become a
hobby.
professional at it too.
Yeah, because Grandpa and Grandma grew up fishing too.
I love fishing, y'all. Look, I'm gonna tell you. Oh, okay. Palmetto Paratrooper says the permaculture consultant turned me on to your channel. Really?
Wow.
Okay.
I like that.
That's very, very nice. And actually, I've been watching that young man and his daddy for a long time.
Yeah.
Because I have always just absolutely loved watching them, and the fact that he looks and sounds just like his father. One day I just kind of had YouTube playing, and I heard the voice, and then I saw the person, but I'm like, in passing, and I'm like, that's not who that is. Who is it? And I'm like, that boy sounds just like. And come to find out, it was his dad. So,
Wow.
oh, that's wonderful. I'm so thankful that he mentioned us on his channel. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Now, Thames 308 says, we throw away too much food.
Yeah.
We must be mindful of this, and we need to start eating together. We don't do that anymore as
That's
a
a great
family. You
Wow.
know, you have some people, one person eat in their room, the other person in their room. You got to text somebody and let people know the food is ready. You know, all that kind of stuff. That is so true.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you what helps with that. In my opinion, preparing meals together
Yeah.
will help with that. Because then that will kind of promote the fact that now we want to sit down and enjoy the meal together that we prepared, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, family, we've become so almost estranged from one another because of social media.
Yeah.
And everything that's happening in the world. You know, I watched my grandson one day. I'm telling you, I just looked at him for probably like 15 minutes straight. And the entire 15 minutes, his hand was on his device and it was like, just flipping, you know, and I'm like, and I was sitting there and I'm like, what is he doing? And he just still flipping. And I'm like, boy, put that phone down.
It's addictive.
Like, put the phone down, you know?
Yeah.
But that we've become so estranged because we spend so much time on social media and not enough time talking with one another as family, right?
Yeah.
So,
Wouldn't it be something?
you all,
Family having dinner at the dinner table like they
Yeah.
used to do back in the 70s and in the 80s.
well, like we used to do when I was
Yeah,
growing up, we
growing
didn't
up.
eat all over the house. You
Yeah.
know, when dinner was done, we
Everybody-
met at the table.
Yeah.
Right? And when I was in my grandma's house, my mom's house, it didn't matter. Dinner was at the table.
Yeah.
Raising our children, dinner was at the table.
Breakfast was at the table.
At the
and
table,
dinner. Yeah,
right?
breakfast and dinner.
So there was no scattered out eating all over the place, but we need to learn how to start preparing meals together. And that also includes getting our children involved in the garden and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, my granddaughter, she loves ground cherries, and she looks forward to ground cherries every single year, but she wouldn't have a knowledge of them if she wasn't out there in the garden with me sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So we have to get the children involved in seeing how, you know, how this cycle of food even goes, you know,
Yeah.
from the preparation of the soil to the planting of the seed. Now
That's
you
a great point.
watching this little plant that you've taken care of become something 4, 5, 6, 7 feet tall even.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting them involved and you're making them interested in
Yeah.
gardening and growing, right?
That's a great point. Because real food has a different taste to it. Because
It does.
if your grandchild is used to eating fast food, and we experienced this when we actually gave them vegetables and things like that, they didn't like it because fast food has some kind of taste, I think, that's totally different from real food, like beans, rice, vegetables, and stuff that you grow, stuff that we grew up on. So it's hard for children to be like, oh, I don't want to taste that. That's nasty.
Yeah.
But really, that's real food.
It is real food.
So, you know.
It is real food.
So
You
that's
know,
a good thing, you know, to get them at the table eating some real healthy food.
Yeah.
Something different from fast food. Which is really good.
Yep. I want to give a shout out to everybody that's in Louisiana right now because I see some Louisiana folks in the house.
Louisiana.
Homies.
Louisiana in the
And
house.
then also to our current homies in the Middle Georgia area.
Middle
What's up,
Georgia.
y'all?
What's going on? And also Texas. You can't forget about Texas.
Well, yep, that's true too. Broke Farmers in the house. Hey, Broke.
All over the U.S. Appreciate y'all very much.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So yeah, we really want to get involved, get our family involved. And somebody said something about there used to be standing room only in the dining room because there was so many of them.
Wow.
And I'm gonna tell you something. Like those were some of the best memories of me growing up. Was all of the family around the table, everybody getting ready to eat dinner and all that kind of stuff. You know, all of that was the favorite memories. And, you know, thinking back even when I was young, like my grandmother would fry this chicken and I would literally sneak into the kitchen and try to take all the skin off the chicken and eat all the chicken and eat the skin, right? And nobody knew that it was me for the longest because I was the littlest thing in the house, and nobody knew that for the longest it was Rita going in the kitchen pulling all that skin off the chicken, and then I would go back outside and I would eat the chicken skin, you know.
Oh boy,
And
I
who
know.
can eat the chicken off the, you know.
Oh, you just messed the dinner up.
I did, and my uncle Junior busted me one day. he said, I know it was you.
Wow.
He busted me one day.
Wow.
I'm like, I hope he don't tell Muddy.
Oh yeah, he told because you ruined dinner for
He
everybody.
definitely told on me, right?
Yeah. Because I would tell.
Oh, he definitely
If
told
I
on
get a
me.
piece of chicken and ain't no skin on it, I'd be like, what a flavor.
I used to try to hide it. Like,
Yeah.
if she made rice and gravy, because she always had some gravy or something, so I would try to hide it. So I would take the spoon and try to put some gravy on.
Wow. I want to know from the chat, how many, what's the percentage of households that y'all think that eat at the table?
Nowadays,
Yeah. Wonder what's the
don't know.
percentage?
I don't know.
Because if the percentage is real low, we need to have a national dinner day for Americans.
We all need to meet at the table.
Meet at the table and eat.
And I do want to ask everybody that's in the chat, if you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please take a moment and hit that thumbs up button, okay? Because so many people are saying that they are not getting our notifications and whatnot. So please hit the thumbs up button so that YouTube will
Yeah.
continue to push this out to our viewers, okay? Because I don't know why y'all are not being notified. I wish I did.
Yeah.
I am telling on myself, Chanel. I used to do a lot of stuff, child. I used to do a lot of stuff because for a long time I was the youngest somebody in the family and I was the tiniest of them all. So I used to do some stuff, okay? And nobody knew it was me.
Oh, so you was getting away with a lot
I
of
was
stuff.
getting away with a lot of stuff.
Wow.
I really was.
Yeah.
Maria used to crack them pecans and she would, you know, she had a pecan tree in the back. She would be peeling all them, shelling all them pecans, seemed like forever. And she would leave them in the refrigerator so she could make her pecan pies. Oh, you talking about somebody going in there eating them pecans seemed like every 5 minutes I was going back in there getting some. And she would come in there, didn't nobody do this but Bobby Lewis? Bobby Lewis did it, Bobby Lewis.
So you got so in other words, you was getting
It
innocent.
was like, Mama, I didn't go in, I didn't eat the pecans.
Innocent family
Why
members.
did y'all eat them? Well, she didn't ask me.
Yeah, innocent family members getting the
I
kids.
know.
Yeah, but U.S. citizens are being forced to homestead, which is not a bad thing, but we need a little grace period.
We do.
We need a grace period. We don't need to just push this out on everybody like in 1 year. So,
Yeah.
hopefully we can get about 3 years of good, you know, like the way how things are. And have people to slowly see that we need to go ahead and start growing our own groceries.
We do.
We really do.
We do.
You know,
Y'all
we do.
encourage. Try your best to encourage your family and friends and people that you love and care about. You know, co-workers, neighbors, even.
Yeah.
Just try to encourage people to grow food because you know it'll be better if we all were doing it.
Yeah.
right? Because if you got neighbors around you, you got neighbors on the side of you, in the front of you, and behind you. If everybody's growing food, then that means that there's one less person you got to worry about trying to steal food out of your garden. There's a person who watches our channel, and she always emails me pictures of her garden, right? I think she lives in California, but she always emails me pictures of her garden. But her biggest problem is that people come by and they like to help themselves to her garden, to the food that's in her garden. They pass them by because it's in the front of her house. So they pass by and they feel like, hey, it's no big deal to grab a tomato and some cucumbers. Hey, it's right here by the sidewalk where I can't grab it, you know? And so that's a problem. So
Well,
everybody needs to be growing
Well,
their own
what she should
food.
do is put a fence around the house and get a German Rockwell.
Well, I'm not sure of the circumstances, but
Yeah.
you got to do something
Yeah,
to
you
stop
gotta.
people
You,
from
yeah, you gotta make sure that
stealing your food, especially
people-
at night. You
Yeah.
have all this beautiful squash out there at night, and then you come back in the morning, and all your squash is gone because somebody didn't help themselves to your garden.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
all
she gotta
need to
do
be
something.
growing. Yeah, we all need to be
because,
growing.
You know, sometimes extreme situations cause for sometimes extreme measures. Make sure you protect your garden. You know, like because if things really get bad, a whole lot of people gonna be like, this is a free fall. We just gonna go ahead and just grab this. You know, just go and get it.
That's true.
You know, but everybody should be growing their own stuff.
Everybody
Right
should
now.
be. And if you've never grown anything before, the one thing I'm going to tell you is just do it. It's
do it.
okay if you mess up. It's okay if mistakes are made. It's okay if it don't do well. It's okay. All you got to do is do it again. And
Yeah.
again and again and again until you get it right. That's all you got to do. You can't give up. You can't stop. You can't not try, right?
Yeah.
So just grab a container. Look, this person, let me see, Just Vegging says you can grow amazing amount of food in containers. Also, find an empty lot and do community gardens.
Look at that.
Now listen, I've watched YouTubers grow their entire crop in containers, from
Yeah.
5-gallon buckets to those laundry tubs that you've seen us put our fruit trees in, to what is that, coffee cans, the Folgers coffee cans, to Lead Farmer 73 and Lady Lead. They use cement mixing tubs from the Home Depot to grow their lettuce in.
Wow.
So you can pretty much grow just about anything in a container.
Yeah.
Right?
And Lead Farmer had all kind of fruit trees.
He does have a
You
lot
know,
of fruit trees.
You know, Broke Farmer got fruit trees. I mean, it's a
He
lot
does.
that you can do. You know, if you don't want to get out there and just really just work the garden, you can get fruit trees too. You know,
Yeah.
to kind of balance things off. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's not really that bad. You know, if you grew up blue collar worker, you know, it's like. You will get used to it, but you've been working hard for a period of time, and things is not really that bad once you get to used to it.
Right.
You know,
Right. I want to say hi to Virginia from Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico in the house.
Hi there. All right, now a lot of people do have chickens. Ellen's Kitchen Keepers. A lot of people do and are getting on board with the backyard chickens, which is so very good, so very wise.
Yeah.
Every person who got space to put a chicken, if you can put 2 birds in your backyard, that's good.
Yeah,
You know.
you can use some chicken salad, you know, for like to help grow your crops. So you getting really eggs,
Yeah.
fertilizer. I mean, yeah. Hey, we got to do what we got to do, y'all.
That's right. That's right. So y'all, yeah, people are growing in 5-gallon buckets, and oh my goodness, it's just so much that you can do to grow, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if put some stuff in some 5-gallon buckets, you can grow cabbages in 5-gallon buckets, broccoli, cauliflower. You can grow brassicas, watermelon even, right?
Yeah.
Now, our son, he has a huge patio garden. And it's not just his patio. I'm going to tell y'all something. He really worked with his neighbor to be able to expand his little patio garden to the point where he has so much food growing.
Wow.
Just so much growing, right? I'm
Yeah.
talking about potatoes, tomatoes, watermelon, and green beans, and what else did he have out there on that patio?
Oh man, I know he got watermelon.
He loved him
He
some
loved
water. He
watermelon.
juices watermelons all the time, so he
Yeah.
loved watermelon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he has like 10 containers of watermelon.
He's doing it.
Yeah, and
doing
and that's just on. And his patio is really not that large, but like I said, communicating with the neighbor, like, I'm gonna be doing
Yeah.
such and such and such. If I do this and this kind of sprawl over to your areas, that'll be okay, you know. So yeah, some
Yeah.
people won't mind. Be like, yeah, look, man, just toss me a watermelon and we good.
Food. Look at food is food.
Right.
In a lot of those areas that they, you know, that you're not growing food in, it's just sitting there.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of just vacant
Yeah.
lots just sitting there.
Right.
You know, how do you think all the food they get into the grocery stores, you know, people put in effort, you know, I know they big farmers or whatever,
Yeah.
but you don't need that much for just one household. You don't need that much.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
and that's another video we're going to talk about too, growing in your spaces, because you need to know that you don't have to. I think we probably talked about this in the last table chat,
Yeah.
where we talked about how much food you can literally grow in 400 square feet of
Yeah.
a garden space, right, for a family of 4. And then you can continue to increase that based upon the size of your family,
Yeah.
right? So the important thing is to just start. We're getting ready to go into the fall season, and it's, you know, time to start planting lettuces and starting brassicas. We're in zone 8 here.
Yeah.
So if you haven't started your brassicas, get them started, because it's time, you know. But think about the fall. If you've never grown anything before, I'm going to tell you that the fall is the easiest time to
Yeah.
start gardening, because it's low maintenance.
Yeah.
And it gives you a chance to slowly work your way into gardening while you are watching your crops grow, right?
In other words, perfect timing, y'all.
It's perfect time.
Perfect timing for what we want to do is have a homestead community so big to where Hollywood going to be looking like, wow, a lot of people are growing their own food. U.S. citizens are really doing it.
Yeah.
They doing it. So, you know, it's inspiring if we can get the young people involved too.
Get our young people involved.
Yes, get them involved.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
absolutely right, you all. So yeah, but
Yeah.
y'all, I think that's gonna do it for tonight's chat. We didn't really want to hold you all too long. We just wanted to kind of, let me see here. Did I miss anything? Thank you, Taylor Mason. Quail and rabbits, yeah, you can definitely do quail and rabbits. And quail are very easy to raise. That's another low maintenance
Yeah.
food item. Quail is something you can literally raise in your garage.
Yeah.
Or
You can have that like low key
Yeah.
in the suburbs, neighborhood.
nobody ever even know you got them.
No, they
They're
won't.
so quiet.
Yeah.
And they do produce eggs. You know, they lay eggs, so you can, you know, the eggs gonna be real tiny.
Yeah.
And you'll
the
need a
bird
lot
is-
of them to make
the
a
bird
omelet.
is real tiny too.
Yeah, but they are so packed with protein. I mean, it's like a dense protein to
Yeah.
where it'll take care of you. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you are thinking about quail are super easy
Yeah.
to raise. Mr. H was raising them too at one point.
Yeah, I had some quail.
But yeah, I think that's gonna do it. Let me see here. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, you can definitely go to the farmer's market with your EBT, buy your veggies,
Yeah.
bring them home and preserve them.
Yeah.
We are big fans of that. We're gonna tell you to do that all day.
Yeah.
If you can't grow, because some people can't.
Yeah.
You know, some people can't. But if you can't, then look, we're gonna tell you to go and buy it in bulk all the time. We're big supporters of that, because I can tell you right now, look, I got a table full of tomatoes right now. I mean, I got tomatoes all over my dining room table.
Yeah.
But if you remember, our crop failed, didn't do well because
No.
we had a catastrophe, right?
Yeah.
And you best be believing I went and bought me some tomatoes to can up my tomatoes, okay? To make sure I had me some diced tomatoes on the shelf just in case I needed some, right? I'm not opposed to doing that, and if you're wise, you'll do the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait. Go get it while you can get it.
Yeah.
Get it while the getting is good.
Uh-huh.
All right? Maybe you haven't heard, but there are a lot of issues with food banks right now.
Wow.
There are a lot of issues with food banks right now, and whether or not food banks will remain open even. Okay?
Wow.
So again, we are being forced to homestead. Basically, we're
Yes, we
being
are.
forced into learning skills that will make us be able to take care of our own selves. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, y'all. So, y'all, I think that's going to do it for tonight's chat. I do apologize that we were 15 minutes late. Like I said, Mrs. H was sitting here like, why ain't we live? Because I didn't hit the live button. And I'm sitting here trying to figure out how in the world do we haven't gone live in so long.
Yeah, it's been
So,
a minute.
yeah. But we definitely wanted to go live with this table chat and just kind of, talk to you all in the comments as well in real time, because we definitely appreciate y'all for supporting our channel. Miss Shirley OG Gardner's in the house.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Miss Shirley.
Miss
Big
Shirley.
old hugs.
Miss Shirley.
Y'all better go over to Miss Shirley channel if y'all don't watch Miss Shirley channel. Go on over there now. That's auntie, big mama, grandma. That's all. She all of that wrapped up into one. She just make you feel so warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
We love Miss Shirley OG Gardner, right? But you all, that's gonna do it. Y'all please stay safe. We know we got the 4th of July holidays coming up, and we just want y'all to be safe out there no matter what you are doing. Remember to hit that like button as well. And also, if you all use our link to shop as your standard and you're not seeing that response that you should get when you use our link, please let me know, because I'm getting emails that saying, Mrs. H, I'm using your link, but there's nothing there, right? That would suggest that we've used your link like it used to be in the past. So if y'all are seeing that and having that issue, please let me know. Either post it in the comments or send me an email so I could reach out to Azure and let them know, okay? But yeah, I think that's going to do it for tonight's table chat.
Oh yeah.
I got to go get Mr. H's pickles out the canner because, I still got so many pickles to can.
Wow.
I got so many pickles
I'm
to can.
helping you though.
He's been so wonderful.
We tag teaming this thing, y'all.
We are.
That's homesteading. That's what it's about.
You gotta
It's
work
about
together.
family, tag teaming, working together. So if y'all got
Yeah.
a family with a lot of children,
Put
that's
them to work.
Yeah.
But even if you don't, you still can do it, okay?
Yeah,
You still,
yeah.
even if you homesteading by yourself, you still can do it. You got this.
Yeah.
All right, y'all, that's going to do it for tonight's table chat. It's getting dark, and I got to start shutting everything down. We got to get our birds put up, and I got to get Mr. H's, the other batch of pickles in the canner. So I pray you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night and a blessed evening. And thank y'all for joining Homestead Heart Table Chat, and we will see y'all in the next video. Y'all do your best to grow your groceries.
Grow your groceries. Yes, y'all. Peace.
Peace out, y'all. Good night. Now I got to figure out how to hit the stop button. What I'm supposed to hit? Oh, that's it right there. Yep. Hit the end part.